Hello, and welcome to the Being Human podcast, where we explore what it means to be human, physically, mentally, and spiritually. We upload an episode of this podcast every single week, so whether you're new here or especially if you're returning and you have not yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button. That is the best way you can help support the podcast, and it also ensures you do not miss any of these episodes. On this episode of the podcast, I sat down with Magic Matty Harris. Matt is a professional boxer, boxing under Wasserman Boxing. He is 7-1. He's got a whole load of hype behind him, and rightly so. I have had the honour of knowing Matty for a long while, and it really was a pleasure to sit down and go through his journey in the sport so far. We not only talked about his amateur boxing career, his professional boxing career so far, we also went off onto many a tangent, everything from cooking and nutrition to God and religion. We talked a whole load about mindset as well. Matt really went into some of the mental processes he goes through, training and fighting, the evolution of his mindset as a boxer, as a fighter. It was really interesting to hear how he operates on a psychological basis, the challenges he's had to overcome to get to where he is, and the mentality that he carries with him in the sport. It was really interesting to exchange ideas with him in this regard. A really fun and enjoyable conversation. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. If you do, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, drop a comment below, share it around on social media as well. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to follow the show and rate it 5 stars too. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting Being Human. The Being Human podcast is brought to you by Rome Protein Bars. These are fantastic. I'm not a fan of protein bars. You know me, I love to eat real whole foods, but Rome protein bars are just that. These are grass-fed beef bars. They're completely natural. They're not full of a load of garbage that other protein bars are. These have really been a game changer for me, helping me fuel post-workout, pre-workout in a quick, easy and efficient manner without compromising on the quality of the foods that I eat. I take these with me everywhere I go. I love to snack on a couple straight after a workout. The protein that you get per bar for the calories that are in them is pretty insane. You're looking at less than 150 calories in a bar and 18 plus grams of protein. So they're fantastic when you're looking to stay lean, make weight if you're a weight cut athlete. My favourite flavours are these smoky paprika, almond and cranberry bars, and the apricot and crunchy hazelnut flavour too. To pick up some bars for yourself, all you need to do is to head to roamfood.com and use the code Aaron10 to get 10% off your order. That's roamfood, ROAM food.com, and use the code Aaron, ARUN, all caps, 10 to get 10% off your order. And now presenting Being Human with Magic Matty Harris. When did you start boxing?
I'm pretty sure the very start, I must have been about 6, 5 or something. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because me and my brother used to do kickboxing. That's what
I remember that because we started at the same place.
Yeah.
In Bedworth.
That's the one. Yeah. So that was the very start, I think. Yeah, I must have been around 6, 7, 8, something like that, around that kind of age. Then we stuck at that for a few years. I think I was there for 3 or 4 years, can't remember, but obviously as you go through school, I remember, what was it? Football became my sport. That was just an accident. It was one of them kind of things, like, everyone at school played football. I was never really that interested in it, but I was just good at it. Like, just because I was athletic. So we started, I think I started playing football when I was 9. I think in my first season, I went to Coventry City. Literally my first year playing football.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I was going to ask if you played for the same team as your brother.
No.
You'd already ascended.
I was levels above my brother.
Because me and Adam played for the same team for a year. Yeah.
What was that?
I think we were called Ambleside Hearts. Was it Ambleside?
Yes. Yeah. I played a game for them, you know.
Oh wow. I must have missed that.
I think it was a cup game. And my brother, I think I went along to watch, and I think there was like a guy short or something, so I just hopped in. So why not? And,
we were the worst team in the league by far,
Mate.
and we were in the B League.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was the worst player on the team.
Oh yeah,
so I was
that
the
team
worst player.
bad.
In the league.
Yeah. No, that team was terrible.
It was awful.
But I remember, I remember that. Is I think I scored 2 goals in that game. I might have got a hat trick. I can't remember. I think because you are 2 years above me. I think
Me too. Yeah.
So, yeah.
2 years above.
2 years above
Yeah.
me. Yeah. I remember I got a hat trick or scored 2 goals. Got you through to the next round. So you're welcome.
Yeah, you would have done. Yeah.
Thank
Thank you. We needed all the help we could get. I remember. Not that this podcast is not about your brother, but to pay Adam his due, he had 2 highlights for me personally during that season. He scored what the coach called the goal of the season. It's like from the halfway line. Obviously, it was a small pitch.
I always thought that was rubbish, man, when he's talking about it. The way he described that goal to me.
He's talked about it. They called it the Adam Harris Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
Scored it from the halfway line, which was, on those pitches, probably about 5 metres. But the Adam Harris Thunderbolt. And then he lost his shit one training session and booted a kid in the stomach. That was pretty entertaining.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah.
Could see that happening. Yeah. Nice. To be honest, I didn't hear about that one. I knew about the Thunderbolt though. As that was one of his highlights growing up. I remember him mentioning.
Oh, okay. So he treasures it just as much as me. Yeah, no, I have good memories of that, despite it being so shit. But anyway, okay. So you went to Cov City.
I was there for. I was only there on trial, but I think I was there for 6 months. I can't remember. Then I've gone back. I think I started playing for a team in Coventry. I played for a few teams, to be honest, but mainly the same 2 teams that I stuck with. Then I ended up going to Villa.
Oh wow! I didn't know this. I didn't know you played football at such a good level.
I was signed with Villa. Yeah, man.
I never knew that.
So that was when I was a bit younger. I think that was I can't remember. That must be my 3rd or 4th season.
What position did you play?
Started off as a centre mid, moved to a centre back because I was big. But
centre back is what I had a feeling you were going to say.
Yeah, honestly, with all kids growing up, they always just put the biggest 2 at the back. You know what I mean? That's the way it works. But now,
because you were always a big guy, weren't you?
Yeah. Well, no, actually, I was big when I was young, and then I didn't grow for years. So when I was in school, by the time I left school, I wasn't even the biggest in my year. But obviously now, from when I was at college, I just had a massive growth spurt. I used to be a little bit short and a bit chubby, and then I just shot up in height. I just leaned out. Sorry. Technical difficulty, mate. Let me just put that's already on D&D. That's me, mate. Shout out Troy. But yeah, what was I doing?
Playing for Villa.
Yeah, playing for Villa. To be honest, then I think after that I went to West Brom. I was there for a little bit. I think I was on trial at Burton Albion. I can't remember. It's another. To me, that was a whole nother lifetime ago.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then,
but these were your teenage years, right? Or even before that?
No, that was my teenage years. And then I kind of fell out of love with football. To be honest, I never enjoyed football from when I was playing. I never really enjoyed football. Anyway,
I've never heard you talk about it.
Yeah, I never enjoyed it.
That.
I never enjoyed it. I used to do it because I was good at it. And it was something to do when you're that kind of age, especially over here. Football is one of the sports. Everyone wants to be a footballer. So I was just doing it just because all my mates did it, everyone else did it. I never really loved it like that. But I think when I was 14, 15, I remember over the summer holidays once, my friend took me to a boxing gym. And from then, I was just in love with it, man.
So 14, 15 years old?
Yeah.
And you hadn't been training between that and when you were doing a bit of kickboxing?
No, I hadn't done anything in between
when
then.
You were 6 years old?
Yeah, that's a good point. I barely did anything. No, I didn't really do. I was just playing football. No sort of combat sports or anything like that. I must have stopped about. I can't remember. I must have stopped at 8 and picked it back up about 14, 15. Yeah.
What was the gym you went to that your mate took you to at 14, 15 years old?
It was with a trainer called Lee Ferry. I don't know why.
Was that Lee who used to coach at Combat?
Yeah. I was with Lee for a little bit, then wanted to fight, so went to an amateur gym in Coventry. It was Cov Boys. That was my first amateur club. I had a fight there, and then went over to Birmingham. So
when was that? Your first amateur fight? Because I didn't think that was until much later.
I was 17, I think.
Okay.
18, 17?
Yeah.
Yeah. That wasn't until a bit later. But to be honest, it was just... How come we didn't...
You were training pretty casually, though, at first, right?
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it is. It wasn't something that... When I first started, it wasn't something that I'd say wanted to do as a career until, say, a few years later. Or 18 months after I'd started. But yeah, I knew that's what I wanted to do. So from then, I just put things in place. Kind of just moved my life around to make sure that was what I was going to end up doing.
Yeah.
And so far to date, we've had a few hiccups along the way, but it's been a fast journey.
That's it. It's like your trajectory has been exponential.
Yes and no. It's been up, down, like sideways.
That's it. What it looks like to people, it looks like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But there's so many micro fluctuations along the way.
But that's it. Like it's been a bit of a weird journey, to be honest.
But what's quite unique about your career is you had a very short amateur career. Because I remember, time flies. It feels like yesterday, really. But I remember, I knew you boxed.
Yeah.
But like you said, it wasn't something that like you were really doing intensely. It's not like you were training every day. When I first met you, I would have been about 18, I think, and I don't think you fought at. Well, yeah, you wouldn't have fought at that point. So it was just something you were.
I would have boxed by then.
Yeah.
I would have fought by then.
Okay.
Yeah. I would have. I remember because it was. I can't remember if I was 17 or 18 when I had my first fight, but even if I was 18, it would have been... I'm 18 in January, and I remember the fight was in February. I just don't remember which year.
Yeah.
So, even if it was on my 18th, but I would have met you after I'd already boxed.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but...
Let's met you in January.
Yeah. But what I remember in my mind is, like, there was kind of like a clear point where, like, where the switch flicked, where it went from you're boxing a few times a week to, well, like, you're doing really well, you're training hard, you've had a couple of fights, doing very well, and you're taking it a lot more seriously now. And I remember, I don't know how much of a turning point or key moment this was for you. Obviously, it was a pretty emphatic event, was when you comatose that guy in one of your early amateur fights. And from then on, you struggled to get matches, right?
Yeah. I remember that, 15th of November.
Talk us through that fight.
15th of November 2019, mate.
Yeah. I think that was about your third amateur bout. Is that right?
I think that was my fifth.
How many amateur fights did you have? All said and done.
9, I think.
9?
I can't remember. I think it's about 8 or 9, something like that. Not many, but I can't remember how many times I boxed after that and worked backwards. But yeah, I remember that like it was that day, like it was yesterday. It's one of my highlights. But yeah,
in my mind, that was like a big, not turning point, but that was like a key moment. Because I remember after that, you had so many opponents pull out on you.
Oh yeah. We had a guy turn up to box me on the home show in December. He turned up with his kit bag, and then said, "Nah." Like it was such a weird thing. Like, why would you even come with your kit bag?
Yeah, it was incredibly.
And then he turned up and said, "Nah, just come to watch." What do you mean kit bag then? Like, that's so weird. But yeah, that was a few years ago. But to be honest, the main reason I turned pro as well was all of that kind of fear stuff. Say it sped along through COVID, just because there was no fights. I just wanted to fight, and there wasn't any. We was on lockdown from March, because I remember I think I boxed right before lockdown. It must have been a week, 2 weeks before lockdown. That had been last time which I fought in March. And March 2020, that would have been. Then I was still training in the park with one of my mates through lockdown over that summer. Because obviously you couldn't go to gyms or anything like that, so that was a bit annoying. What else happened? I got a call just before that, actually. I remember I was sparring some lads at a gym, and someone who was cousins with Jerry Gorman, cousins with Nathan, asked me if I'd sparred Nathan before and if I fancied it. I'm easy as anything when it comes to that kind of stuff. I was like, yeah, cool. And he said, no, I can't remember what it was. He asked me to spar some of his lads that he had, and I put them both over. I put one of them over, I can't remember. And then that was when he asked me about sparring Nathan. And he was like, I'll sort some sparring out with you. And obviously nothing come of that, because I'm pretty sure that was in the February. Then lockdown happened in March, so I didn't hear anything about it. And I was just training in the park with my mate, and I'd completely forgotten about it. And then I remember I think it was in September, when the restrictions were easing, I got a phone call from Jerry saying, you fancy doing some sparring with Nathan? I was like, yeah, why not? And I think, that was September 20. And he's come over for sparring. And I remember he beat the brakes off me back then, mate. Yeah, that was rough. He's but again, when you look back, it's all these kind of experiences that kind of make you as a fighter, I suppose. And yeah, I've done. To be fair, then I wouldn't have sparred for 7 months. So looking back on it, probably I was being a bit harsh on myself at the time. But I remember he trying not to use bad language, but yeah, he beat the brakes off me, mate. Honestly, I remember I left that spar with 2 black eyes and I had like a bruise on my forehead as well.
If you get a bruise on your forehead, you know it's bad.
Yeah,
it's a hard place.
I'll tell you what though, I wasn't expecting, because my coach says to me before that spar, he said like, because he's a pro, he says he'll probably come out like a bit slow and like feel you out. He came out and lit me up. Oh man, he's been
caged up during lockdown.
Honestly,
no sparring.
That's it. I think he was. What fight was he getting ready for at the time? I can't remember. I think he had a fight coming up, or so. I can't remember. But yeah, that was supposed to be like a, I was expecting to go out there and like I barely maybe touched the bag for like a round or something and just hop straight in, thinking he was going to get to warm into it.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't know about this. Come on, lit me up, man. Then he come out and put it on me proper. But yeah, as I said, even in that spar, you learn a lot about yourself. You know what I mean?
You do.
And it was that. As I said, I remember like it was yesterday. That was hard. that was hard.
You'd sparred a lot of high level guys, though, hadn't you?
No, not before that.
Before you went pro, though.
Yeah, right. Before I turned professional. After that sparring, I think I asked him to come back on because I wanted to get my licks back. I was thinking he'd set about me. I need to get my back. But yeah, no. And I think I sparred him again a few days later, and I made sure I got there like an hour early. Warmed up, I was sweating by the time I got in there and giving a better account of myself. And it must have been. Sorry, I'm saying off into this because I'm trying to think.
No.
Must have been 2 or 3 weeks later. I got a call asking to do some rounds with Dubois. He was getting ready to fight Joyce.
Yes, I remember that.
And again, this time they was going to pay me. I'd never had a penny out of boxing, mate. And so I was broke, so.
You would have done it for free, right?
Yeah, I'd have done it for experience, and they was going to pay me.
Spar with Dubois.
Mate, as I said.
I'm prepared for Joyce.
Yeah,
I'm down for that.
I remember I went down, I can't even remember. I wasn't expecting to get paid either. I didn't know I was getting paid, I think, until after the first spar. Someone handed me like a a little wad of cash. Yeah, yes, sir.
I like this.
Yeah, I'd not done it. I'd not had that before. So, and as I said, I was broke. I was struggling to pay my car insurance. So, yeah, that money went straight to a car insurance. But yeah, I remember that was down in. There was a guy called Mervyn Turner who set that up, and I was staying at a hotel down in Luton, and we were driving. He was still with Martin Bowers at the time, so we was driving into Essex in the mornings to go and do the rounds. They had a beautiful gym down there as well. Honestly, that gym was phenomenal. But yeah, that was I think I did 3 weeks down there with him, and then one of the last spars I'd done something to my bicep. I couldn't move me. I remember I come back, just couldn't move my arm. I think I just twinged it when I was going for a punch, and yeah, well, I might have got hit. I can't even remember honestly. But yeah, that first spar I was expecting. To be honest, I don't really know what I was expecting. I knew he was obviously a good fighter and a tremendous puncher. So yeah, gone down there and it was a hold my own. And again, then it must have been. I think I'll tell you what. Yeah, I remember that. I was getting paid. I don't mind telling you. I was getting paid £500 a week to do the sparring down there. At the time, I was broke anyway, so money. Yeah, there's a lot of money. I remember finding out someone else there was getting paid £1,500 a week to do the same rounds I was doing. Which, yeah, I started kind of looking at everyone sideways. But nah, as I said, that yeah, I'm pretty sure it was £1,500 or £2,000 a week or something mad. But to be honest, I was just grateful for what I was getting. I didn't really care. I'm only joking. I was grateful I was even getting paid. It was better than a kick in the teeth, isn't it? So yeah. And then I think after that, it must have been the December. Dubai box Joyce, and there's that really weird. I remember there was a guy called Carl who came to the gym, and this is what I'm saying. Like some people, are just in your life genuinely for, as silly as it sounds, for. I just put there. I don't know how to verbalize it properly.
God, destiny, fate, whatever you want to call it, crosses your paths.
Exactly.
In a deliberate way.
100%. Like, there was a guy who came down to the gym for a couple of times. He come down for like 2 or 3 weeks. I think he was working on the HS2 train thing.
Okay.
And he'd done some boxing as a pro. And was stopping by the area, coming to the gym, and done a bit of training with us, and recommended going to spar with Huey Fury at the time. Said to message Peter or something, and to go up and get some rounds in with Huey. Like I think, he set it up because he said they're looking for big guys. So drop him a message, go over. And that was kind of, again, as weird as that is, and I couldn't even tell you where that bloke's at now. It was again, just him coming into the gym has changed my life so much today.
A chance opportunity,
honestly,
had such an impact.
Yeah, it's crazy because, as you probably know now, I'm trained by Peter today. Yeah. So and I train with them. But yeah, it was such a, and again, he was only passing through by chance. Like we was a local gym to where he was, and I just happened to be there. You know what I mean? So, and there's 5 other gyms in that area as well, and he's come through to us, and out of that, I've got an opportunity and made a relationship that has changed my life for the better. So, anyway, I remember going up to spar Huey, and again, same story. First day, and I remember he beat the brakes off me. Like, yeah, he said about me. I remember sitting. I think I went back to the hotel that night. It was like a little motel thing. And I was sat in the bath and I remember thinking, what am I doing? I remember thinking, what is the point? And I think we had sparring the next morning, and I was genuinely like contemplating my whole life sat in that bath. And like my neck was sore, like the back of my head was sore, my neck was sore, my arms sore, everything just felt like I'd been hit by a bus. I was just but anyway, I'm thinking, we'll stick it out. See where you end
I was
up.
going to ask, what was the conclusion of that inner monologue? Why am I doing this? Like, what was your answer to that?
This is what I chose to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I made that decision a long time ago.
At that point, you're already committed to the path.
Exactly. I was committed to it. So now you can't really. Let me turn that back. Yeah, now I can't really pull out. I'm in now, so why not? And so I turned back up the next morning, and today the rest is history. To be honest, it was. But as I said, it's you realize the type of person you are, the type of actions that make you the man you are. It's small decisions every day. You don't know when they're gonna come. Like it's those them things that might seem insignificant at the time. Choosing to stick it out when or choosing to quit, whatever you pick. Eventually, they will decide what kind of person you are. I remember one time I had this was when I was sparring up there, and this is a little shout out to my mum. I remember I'd had some, because I was prepping my meals and going up there. I had some salmon, like that. I think it'd been in the fridge a week, and I'd heated that up in the microwave, eating it. I remember going to bed that night, and I was sick. Like I think I hadn't cooked it right or something, whatever it was. And yeah, I remember I was throwing up in the toilet. I remember checking time. It was like 3:00 in the morning, and I called my mum. And I kind of called her just I kind of knew what she was going to say, but I needed to hear it. Do you know what I mean?
From her.
And I was like, I'm going to come home. Like, as I said, I'm vomiting. I feel like garbage. And I was like, nah, you ain't coming home. She was like, nah, you got to stick it out. She was like, you're up there. You've got one spar left to do. Get that done, and then you can come home. I went to sleep. I had about 3 hours sleep. Got up the next morning. I remember I put a rubbish bin next to the ring just in case. Like, I knew if he hit me in the stomach, I was gonna throw up. I remember I've got in there and I started moving around. I just wanted to get it over and done with. And one of the first shots he threw was just straight backhand to the body. I remember my stomach going like, I genuinely thought I was gonna choke out. I didn't show it or anything. I just remember like kind of tense, just moving around like, thinking I was gonna spew, but yeah, we got through it, and But as I said, it's those kind of small decisions that you make, like that lead you to where you are. I remember thinking, when I was sparring Nathan, he was hurting me, and I was thinking about staying in there. But again, that's a decision I made then, and that's why I could never see myself quitting. Just because I'm thinking, you quit once, it's easy to do it again. There's no just quitting once.
Yeah.
Like, if you quit once, then, as it says, that it's harder to not do it again. So I just stuck it out, and as I said, it was what I'd said I wanted to do for a career, and it was the kind of path that I pushed myself down. So I kind of didn't really, as long as I didn't have a choice, you just got to keep going.
That's a really good point as well, about once you choose to quit once, it's so much easier to do it again. Because it's so easy to let that be the first act of a preceding habit.
Yep.
And it's almost akin to getting knocked out. But there's a key difference in that once you get knocked out once, it's going to be easier, most likely, to get knocked out again. The only difference is you have a choice about whether you quit or not. You don't really have a choice about whether you get knocked out. Obviously, there's things you can do to prevent it. Nobody's trying to get knocked out.
True.
But ultimately, if you get caught, you get caught, and you don't have too much control in that moment over whether the lights go out or not. But quitting is a conscious decision. Yeah,
exactly. Which is why I can't quit.
Yeah.
Which is why I refuse to quit, and I'm in too deep. It's not even like to me. It's not even an option. That went out the table many years ago. This is what I do now.
Was that before you went pro? Did you make that deal with yourself before you went pro?
Yeah. I made that decision.
So even when you were fighting amateur, even before or I suppose
do you know
the
what it is?
decision
You
was
don't
made.
really know what you're made of until you take a real pasting.
Yeah.
Like, and when I was saying I wanted to be a boxer and the rest of it, I'd never really taken a pasting up until that point. And then when you really hold a beating,
and that was through those spars, with those guys.
Yeah. That's when you kind of have.
That was your baptism of fire.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's when you realize what you are. I'm going up against these people that are a lot more experienced than me. But one thing that I believed in, and I think this is what made me, is that even all the way back then, but I got by athleticism, I could punch, and I was tough. I won't quit.
You're a natural fighter. That's always been clear to me.
Yeah, and that's it, man. It's because I love what I do.
Yeah.
So, don't get me wrong, I hate the business side of boxing. I love fighting. Like, that's what I am. It's what I've chosen to do.
Do you mind talking about the lockdown scraps?
Nah, I don't mind.
Yeah. Because I think that illustrates that point beautifully.
Yeah.
Because you say, like, in lockdown, there's no fights happening. But you guys were going, you and other people around the area, organising your own promotion and cracking on, right?
That was it. One of the guys from Birmingham, a guy called Merckx, he'd sorted out. I remember getting a message. I knew him from college, but I was speaking to him. I stayed in contact with him anyway because he fights as well. He does MMA. I think I can't actually remember how it came about. I think there was just a group chat made or something. For people that wanted to fight, everyone took a bit of money in when it takes a part. You know what I mean?
And it was literally as rudimentary as going down to the park, putting the gloves on. And
yeah. That's it. Yeah, it was down at it's by a park near Dog Track. I can't exactly remember where it was, but yeah, it was a big field. It was in the summer. Everyone kind of. Looking back, even now, is a bit silly, but everyone bring your own gloves. Obviously, everyone would kind of like check each other's gloves when you get there, and someone's your size, you fight. Yeah, that was good, man. That was good. I remember taking a couple of my mates across to that as well because they were fighters as well. Just love it.
It's all experience, isn't it?
Exactly. Like.
And the point that I originally brought that up for was, as you said, you love to fight.
Yes, absolutely.
In lockdown, there was nothing going on.
Yeah,
I think that was a point where people, just comparing it to like our situation here in the gym, there's a lot of people that used to come and train before lockdown that we've never seen since. Lockdown was a make or break for a lot of people when it comes to sports like combat sports.
Yeah.
It was even the point where people realised, oh my God, this has been taken away from me and I know how much I love this and how much I want to do this.
Yeah.
Or it was taken away and people were like,
Yeah.
I like the comfort of not having to train every day, and unfortunately it slipped away and it's never come back since.
Yeah, no, it's true. And that's something, as I said, I'm still young now, so I'm still learning a lot. But again, I've learned a lot about myself over the past few years. And that's something that, as I said, I know I am a warrior in myself. I know I'm a fighter. I said I absolutely love it. I love. The one thing I didn't love was before. Anyway, I used to hate training. I'm not gonna lie to you. I used to love fighting. Didn't like training, but it's something that I've learned to love. I used to love sparring. I would love to fight, but all the extra bits around that was
the more mundane aspects.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it.
You just wanted to scrap.
Yeah, I just wanted to punch people in the face and have a fight. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's something that I think will always be inside me. Like it just always has been, always will be. But yeah, from then, what happened after? I went for. Max, must have been Max back then. I'd been invited to go for an assessment boxing up at Team GB. Sorry, Huey fought. We had the Christmas break off. I think I went back into camp with him from February or March. No, January or February. It was only supposed to be for a couple of weeks. I ended up staying there for 6 months. Again, I just loved it. Because we were sparring a lot. I was getting a lot of experience, building up a lot of experience over that time.
And wow, like what an opportunity at that point, like 6 months in the Furies camp.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And bear in mind, I was still boxing amateur then. It was an amazing experience. And then, what did we do? Then I had,
You had the assessment.
The assessment. And I think we went up there that was it. Just before, it must have been my last spar. I don't know why I get this kind of look. But it was my last spar before I was supposed to go over at the weekend.
For the Team GB.
For the Team GB up at Sheffield. And I remember stepping back and I rolled my ankle. Oh, really bad. Like, as in, my shin touched the floor.
Really?
Yeah, it's bad. And gone down. And Peter's had to take my boot off. Because I genuinely, I couldn't take my foot off. So he just had to drag it off for me. And he says, you have to take yourself to hospital. My ankle was big. So, I remember going back to the room, hopping around, gone back to, again, that's another story. That was very strange. I remember I had to drive to this hospital. It was in the middle of nowhere. A really quiet hospital. I was in, a bit eerily quiet. Gone into the A&E. And it was just me and one other lad in there. We were sat there for 8 hours, just waiting. And this other lad, I can't remember his name for the life of me. But what I do remember is I think he'd stabbed himself in the chest. Again,
intentionally.
Yeah, I think he tried to do himself, but he stabbed himself in the chest and in the stomach or something like that. And he was just sat with me like bleeding for ages. Again, it was just a weird experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I sat there on my ankle up, I couldn't walk on it. Yeah, and, as I said, that was a very, very weird experience. And gone there, they slapped me on crutches, and I had to. Well, anyway, I can't remember really what they'd done for me, but I remember they gave me. I was on crutches and left. Still went up for the sparring.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you still went for the Team GB assessment?
Because what I'd done was I remember I taped up my ankle, put a bandage over it, and then taped it up again. So it literally couldn't move.
Yeah.
Like, it was just there kind of to lean on, you know what I mean? But
so you couldn't move it, but at least it was stable.
Yeah, I could stand on it. I could put some pressure
because otherwise you were just going to be
constantly
falling over.
I just taped it up so it couldn't move.
Popped a few
I told him when I was up there. Nah, I don't do painkillers.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Cause that's just for me. Number one, I don't trust drugs because anything
I'm with you on it. Yeah, I'm with you on it. But if I have hard rounds and my, with a lot riding on them, and my ankle is like 90 degrees the wrong way, I'm taking painkillers. I'm with you on the principle. Dude, avoid pharmaceuticals at all costs.
Yeah,
I'm with you on it.
I just don't mess with them.
But in those circumstances, I might cave.
Yeah, it's just I don't really know why I did it, to be honest. I remember I just taped it up, and I told him that because I think.
Well, you know why you did it because there was so much riding on it, right?
Yeah,
the opportunity to box for Team GB.
Yeah, that was it. Like, I remember I went for when we was up there, staying in the hotel, and I think they said running was at like 5 o'clock in the morning or something like that. 6.
Oh wow! Oh, so it wasn't just boxing either.
No, it was a little camp thing. Yeah.
Press ups.
No, I wasn't doing that. I told him I couldn't run. I said, I'm going to be honest here. Like, I've completely shaken my ankle. I can't do anything. I was like, I can spar, but I can't really do anything else.
Yeah.
I barely walk, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, no worries, just coming for the sparring. So I just taped it up, done my thing, and got in there and done really well.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, boxed really good.
Yeah.
But again, I was just...
Well, by the time you've gone through all of that adversity to get in the ring, at that point, it's like, again, I'm in too deep. I've put so much into this.
Yeah.
We've got to go for it.
It's probably because
you probably felt pretty pissed about the situation as well.
Yeah, when you're young, I suppose you care less for your health, don't you? You kind of feel more invincible. So, and as I said, I know I'm tough. If anything, I know I'm tough. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'd gone up there and boxed really well, and I think I had to do 2 weeks up there or 3 weeks. I can't remember. It was a few weeks. I remember I went back again, and on the last day of my sparring up there, I remember I'd taken my straps off. My ankle had felt, obviously it'd been a couple of weeks then, and I was still on my crutches. I remember I got home, stepped out my car, and literally as I stepped out my car, my ankle went again. I was so annoyed, right? But yeah, I remember getting my email. I can't remember what it said. I can't remember the exact wording, but it was about going up to train up there full time. So you've been invited to go and train up there. Yeah.
So it's basically an offer, like
yeah,
to go full time with Team GB.
Yeah, and I remember the money was terrible. At the time when I was training with Peter, I'd already been offered by 3 people to turn pro. And
so you'd already had a few offers to turn pro by this point.
Yeah, so you kind of just... Oh, don't get me wrong, I would have gone to GB, but I was broke, so... And it would have been an honour.
So,
but I was broke. I got a good offer from Wasserman, and after that was hashed out, ended up turning over, and then the journey really begins, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, but I remember when it was happening at the time. Your brother talking about it, and obviously like your consideration, like you've got to weigh it up, like Team GB, like the opportunity as an amateur.
Listen, none of that mattered. When I got my first signing on, when I got my first paycheck, I was broke. I was sat in the shop with one of our boys. I think we'd just gone out to grab some food after training or something, and I remember that notification coming from. I thought
it was like, this was a no-brainer.
Yeah. I remember that notification coming from my phone. I was like, breakfast on me. I think we just, as soon as the money came through, finished up, got breakfast, went shopping. So yeah, I said I was 21 then. Yeah. So.
But all those, and that's what I mean, there was quite a lot of hype about you at this point, right? Like I said, you'd had multiple offers to go pro.
Yeah, because I'd done a lot of, to be honest, mainly I'd made a good name for myself
through the spot.
Gyms,
yeah, that's it. That's how it came about, right? That's how those opportunities came about, and I think it's fair to say, like, you got a good deal signing with Wasserman, right? Like a real good deal.
Oh yeah, no, I got paid,
and that was
a very good deal,
and that was all credit to that baptism of fire that you'd put yourself through, the opportunities that had, of course, fallen in your lap, so to speak, but that you'd grabbed with both hands.
I think that's one of the things. You're right. It is kind of like it fell in my lap, but I'd worked for it. It wouldn't have fallen in my lap if I'd say that first fight, if I decided to jack it in then.
Yeah.
None of this, I wouldn't be here today. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it says word would get around. I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be in the position I'm in. So I'd earned it.
Yeah.
As silly as it sounds.
It's that classic, it's a cliche.
You create your own luck.
Create your own luck, but was it success is where luck or opportunity meets preparation.
Hard work.
Yeah, hard meets hard work. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Well, luck and opportunity, the intersection between luck and opportunity and hard work and preparation.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what it was, right? Like, the opportunity fortuitously came your way, but you could have easily gone, that's a bit scary.
Yeah.
Keep going on to the next person.
No, that's it.
You grabbed it with both hands and you saw it through.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. I've, as I said, made a lot of... Yeah, I was going to say I've made a lot of decisions over the past few years. And to be honest, looking back, not all of them have been great, but I am where I am and they've made me what I am.
That's how you learn.
Exactly. As I said, I'm only, as of today, I'm still only 24. My life's moved very quickly for a 24-year-old. Do you know what I mean? But I've, as I said, I've learnt a lot, and I'm very excited about my career moving forward. Yeah, very excited. It's been a roll. Even the past few years, been an absolute roller coaster. And yeah, I'm just working hard away at the minute. Working very hard. Again, for more opportunities. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Talk to me about your first pro fight. How long had it been since you were last officially in the ring when you made your first walk as a pro? 18 months between your last amateur fight and first pro bout.
That's what I mean. Everything just happened quick.
Yeah.
It was March 20 to November 21. It might be a bit more than, might be 19 months.
Yeah. And what was the mindset like
Relaxed.
going in there? Relaxed.
Yeah. I was really
didn't feel. Do you tend to feel? Has it changed over the years? Do you tend to feel a certain amount of nerves going into a fight?
Not really. Yes, but I just call it excitement.
It's two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. I just think it's because I'm excited. I wouldn't say it's like
You wouldn't call it.
Was it Custom who had the whole quote about fire?
Yeah.
But you can fire uncontrolled, can burn your house down, or you can use it to cook and warm the house and everything else. So yeah, along them lines.
Yeah. Well, I remember watching you walk out. You looked relaxed.
Yeah,
having a bit of a dance.
Yeah. I was, because I'd earned it. As far as I was concerned, I'd enjoyed it. As far as I said, I'd worked hard,
and you felt ready for it.
I felt I was ready for it. And even
like I said,
because
people looking from the outside in who didn't know you, like I said, there was a lot of buzz about you, but people that didn't know you, they were like, "Who's this guy? He's having his pro debut after 8-9 amateur fights. That's pretty unheard of." And you went in there. Obviously, you were in no rush in that first fight either. I think it's fair to say, like, you wanted to bank a few rounds in that first fight, right?
Yeah, but to be honest, I didn't really go in there with any sort of plan. Just went in the box. I remember. I remember my first pro fight, trying on the gloves. I remember clipping the gloves on; they were tiny. I remember thinking, "Oh yeah, these feel nice." No, that was my first pro fight. I remember I didn't really think about it. My second pro fight, I had some. I can't remember what they were. I think they were these Everlast. They were these horsehair gloves. I don't remember going out. I was a bit ill for that one as well. But I remember warming up in the changing rooms. And I felt light, and I was punching hard, feeling the gloves, and I felt like, I felt good. I remember walking out and seeing that you had the same pair on.
These gloves feel good.
I was going to go there, sat by him, and then I remember seeing he had exactly the same pair of gloves on. And for some reason, that had not registered in my head until I got in the ring. But to be honest, when that first bell goes, nothing matters. Right?
You had a moment there in your second fight where you're like, oh wow, almost like as dangerous as I am, he's got the potential. He's maybe not as dangerous as me, but he's got the potential.
Do you know what it is?
To be.
Anyone over 12 stone could knock you out with a single punch. It doesn't matter.
That's a really no one's ever put it like that before. That's a really good way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows how to throw, even if they don't really know how to throw a punch, anyone over 12 stone, you got a good chance, right?
Anyone from light heavyweight upwards, whatever that is, can do you with a single shot. So you have to always be cautious of people. Light heavyweights are probably the worst people to spar because they're fast and sharp, but they're still heavy enough to crack, but they're smaller, they're fit, they can throw more punches, and
I think a brilliant example of that is Usyk. Obviously Usyk was never light heavyweight, but smaller heavyweight.
He was a middleweight. Usyk
was he?
As an amateur, he boxed Sean Porter, didn't he?
Okay, I didn't know that.
Usyk boxed as a middleweight, he was younger as an amateur,
Okay, obviously I'm not into boxing as deep as I am MMA. I obviously know he started off as a cruiserweight. As a pro, right? He started as a cruiserweight. But as an amateur, he was a middleweight.
Yeah, and he even went up to super heavyweight as an amateur.
Wow.
And then obviously he came out as a pro and boxed as a cruiserweight. So and he will be the latest example. Although he's not purely just athleticism. He's brains as well.
Yes.
Everything. Yeah. He's the full package. He's tough. He's fit. He's smart. So, yeah.
He's got a lot driving him. What's going on?
Yeah,
back at home.
To be honest, I don't even think, as much as, say, you'd want to call that in as a factor, I don't really think that would play into the ring into the game when he's in the ring.
Because he's so cold.
Because he was like that way beforehand. I mean, if you look, he had his fight with one of his good ones, was against Michael Hunter. Tough fight, like as in Hunter was getting the better of the early rounds. The back end of the fight, Usyk just bad. Oh, I think it was nearly 1,000 punches in the last 6 rounds. Like, that's unheard of. Do you know what I mean? Like, again,
especially for
I think he's just a special person.
Cruiserweight.
Yeah. He's just a special individual. Like,
yeah, he is.
There's no.
He's a generational.
Yeah. Threw
I think
1,000 punches in the last 6 rounds or something. I remember it was something crazy, and absolutely battered it. And again, it's like his fight with Bradis. It's a tough fight. Pulled away with it in the back end, and again, I think he's just that mentally tough. Regardless, I don't think he would be motivated by anything, because when you're in there, you're not really thinking about anything other than what you're made of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If anything puts you in the moment, nothing puts you in the moment like a fight does.
Exactly, and I think that's why I love it, because you feel so alive. Like it is. Most of the time, you could be drifting from day to day. Yeah. But right there in that moment, nothing else matters. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think, that's probably why I'm in love with it. But as it says, you've had a couple of fights, no?
Yeah.
Exactly. So when you're fighting, you're not thinking about, it could be anything else going on at home. Nothing matters. You are 100% present in that moment. So
even training here, like I'll train for 3 hours this evening. I guarantee that nothing's going across, and believe me, I've got 1,001 things to think about. I'm thinking about every other minute of the day. And all the meditation in the world, like, it's so difficult to ground yourself in the moment.
Yeah.
Step onto the mats and...
Do you do a lot of meditation?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Not as much as I used to do, and it's something I want to incorporate back in more. What about you? You ever tried it?
Not really. I'd like to say little bits, I suppose, but again...
Do you do visualization?
Little bits. Yeah, actually, no, I do. I visualize... Because
that's something I always did naturally. But before a comp, I can't stop myself from visualizing what it's going to be like. Some people, like, it's a practice they've consciously, deliberately incorporated. I want to do visualization to become more accustomed to it. But for me, it's like I can't not visualize it. And I think it's always served me well.
Yeah, okay. No, that's good. I was going to say, do you have like... So you'll just do it again. You'll just do it naturally. You don't have like a time of day where you'll go and practice.
No, not with the visualization. It'll just be driving to the gym, driving back from the gym.
Oh, okay.
Making my breakfast. I can't stop it, and that's because of the obsession and the love for it, and the fire, and the fear as well. Like when those nerves come in, they necessitate that you put your mind onto what they're worrying about. That's me. I think depending on your state of being and your state of mind, maybe it can be unhealthy to do too much visualization. But for me, the more that I've sat in that place where I'm thinking about what can happen, I'm visualizing the sequences, visualizing me winning, visualizing me losing, the more time I spend in that, the more answers I feel like I get, and the more dialed in. It's like a spiral to me.
That makes sense.
The closer I'm getting to the center, and by the time we get to the day, the night where we've got to actually go and do it, I feel there at the centre of it, locked in.
Good.
That's the best way I can put it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I was going to say, I was going to say for me, mine is I'll do it when I'm in bed at night before I get to sleep. That's what kind of helps me sleep, is I'll think about what I want to do, and that's when I'll visualize, say, knocking somebody out, or
was that something you consciously incorporated, or again just something that naturally you started doing, going to bed before the lights go off?
I'd say that was something that I kind of semi-consciously kind of did. I knew it was something that I needed to. As I say, I'm a believer in you can speaking things into reality, etc. So, and that there's a lot of power in words.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it was kind of something that I'd and in thoughts. It says if you genuinely believe something, you feel it, you can feel it in your chest. If you genuinely feel it in your heart, then the likelihood that it will materialize is, well, it's gonna be up there. You know what I mean? Provided you put the work in.
That's the other piece to the puzzle, right?
That's a big piece to the puzzle.
And you need both, don't you? Because there's loads of people that put the work in and they couldn't bring themselves to believe in themselves. And it's sad to see those people because everyone can see where their potential could have been. But they never quite believed for whatever reason they were worthy of it or that they could do it. And all the hard work in the world won't get you where you want to be if you don't believe in the power of it.
Because a lot of people, and for a lot of people, the world is so small. And the thought of doing anything that big either scares them or it just seems completely unrealistic. And they would think, like, why, like, not in a thing, but why would it happen to me?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas I suppose that's a difference is between those that say, those that do and those that don't, is that why not me? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You put the work in, you believe it enough, you can make it happen. Said if it's going to happen to someone, so why not you? Do you know what I mean?
It's a brilliant way of thinking about it.
So if someone's going to achieve it, why should it not be you? So that's I'd say that's kind of more like my mentality with it. I'm happy to I'm not really scared of anything. One thing kind of scares me.
One thing I did want to ask you about was knowing you for as long as I have, you've always had a real, not a fake, because you can kind of smell when it's people pumping themselves up. You've always had a very real, innate level of confidence, and not just confidence, self-belief. And it's more than just believing that you're capable and worthy of great things. You've always been very confident in who you are. I've always sensed that and seen that in you. Where does that come from? Do you think?
Life. It makes you things.
I've never seen anything faze you.
Yeah, nothing really phases me.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned your mum because your mum's a formidable woman. Someone that I respect greatly.
And just the fact of, why not? Like, as I said, if it's going to happen to someone, why not me? Like, someone has to achieve these things. So I want it. That's another thing. I know what I want, and I'm not afraid to go out there and get it. So it's like, as much as say bad as it sounds, if you want something bad enough, then go and get it. Go and take it. Why not?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
I'm not saying like if you want like Gucci coat and selfie, just grab it off the run over with it.
That's it. Again, that's a fire that could be being taken down two very different paths.
Yeah, I know, but I said
it's what you do with it, isn't it?
Principle, yeah.
Like, if you've got that fire burning in you, like I said, I can speak from my experience. I've always had that, and that fire is going to be used for something. It can't just sit there. Yeah. So it's up to you whether you decide whether you want to use it for something productive and something great for yourself and the people around you, or for something not so great.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, what made you get into podcasting?
That's a really good question. It was something after I left law. Obviously, I was thinking about what I wanted to do. Obviously, training, competing was a massive part of that, but I knew there was other things I wanted to do as well. And I started off writing a weekly newsletter, which I still write each week now.
What about?
Same things as this podcast. Some of it's health and fitness protocols. Lots of it's like intellectual, philosophical guidance. And then there's the spiritual aspect as well, spiritual, religious exploration, an amalgamation of all those things. And then the podcast was just kind of a follow-on from that. Obviously, I've always been comfortable speaking, did a lot of public speaking, debating, growing up in school. Yeah, in school, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was always the public speaker.
Oh,
yeah, I won a fair amount of... That was my original competitive endeavour.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, how come where does that link then go from there to law to MMA.
Yeah.
How does that make sense?
Well, I always had the love for combat sports, didn't I?
Yeah, okay.
Always had the love.
I remember you doing that from a long time ago.
Yeah, well, I started, like I said, we started training at the same place. I think I actually missed you and your brother. You guys were training there before I started.
Yeah,
I started training there, kickboxing and a bit of no-gi when I was 13, 14 years old, when I first got into watching UFC, when John Jones first won the belt, and he was like my childhood idol, which people, laugh at because of everything that is happening outside the cage. But I still stand by the fact that, if you look for the good in him, like he's been a great role model to me, as crazy as that may sound to people. Particularly in regards to self-belief. In relation to what we just talked about. He's someone that's always espoused the power of believing that God has great things in store for you, should you wish to pursue them. But yeah, anyway, I always had the love for combat sports. But the idea that I would ever really compete, like I said, I had some kickboxing bouts, a lot of interclubs when I was younger. But the idea of because I was never an athlete growing up. Okay. I was terrible at football, as I said, the worst player in the league. Terrible at all sports. I wasn't an athlete, so the thought of ever being an athlete just wasn't on the table. And it wasn't until I had my place at the firm in London. I had a gap year after uni before I started law school that I thought I need to fill time, basically. And I thought I'm going to pick up training again. Started training with Jimmy and Joe, who are my coaches now to this day. Fell in love with it. And it was the love for it that made me want to pursue it.
Interesting.
I realised that I didn't actually love law. I loved the fact that I was going to get a lot of money from it. A lot of money, a lot of social status. Sense. And going back to training made me realise how much I loved combat sports, how much I loved the art of it, the science of it, the people, because it brings a certain kind of people, the people that it brings you to, the brotherhood that you gain from it.
Sure.
Everything about it. And the love for it drove me or pulled me back to it. I couldn't bring myself to continue on down the path as financially fruitful as it would have been. So yeah,
that's crazy.
That's how I ended up doing what I'm doing now. But the podcast was always kind of a natural one because I love I love speaking. There's no way to put it. And as a podcast, it's about the guest, of course, but I get to sit here and.
I was going to say, there's a lot of talking in law now.
Yeah. What's that?
There's a lot of talking in law, isn't there? No.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I've stood up in court multiple times and spoken. I've always been a proficient public speaker, so I knew I could host a good podcast. So I knew I could deliver good conversations, have good conversations. It was another medium for me to share my views and perceptions on the world, and people, and truth. I always say, find truth, know God, have a blessed day. That's kind of an overarching motto of the newsletter and podcast. Really, I just want to help people. I would describe it in my words. Again, find truth and know God. But that will put a lot of people off if they don't feel as though they're religious, if they don't feel as though they're spiritual. Really, what I want people to do is realise their potential, be aware of the monumental nature of this existence, because it's really fucking incredible. Yeah. And I think people are just stuck in the mundanity of going to a 9 to 5 that they don't really like, going home to a missus that they're maybe not that passionate about, and they're living very on the surface, or even,
a lot of people settle.
Yeah.
They don't live lives that they want to live. They live lives that have kind of just, they've fallen into, settled into.
And all those dreams that we had as a kid, they're just a thing of the past that most people, they've probably even forgotten what their dreams were.
Fall by the wayside. But again, that's it. Do you know how many people you hear kind of growing up, not everyone can be a professional footballer. Do you know how many people you hear say that? But there are that many professional footballers. If you are willing to work hard enough, and if you work harder than everyone else, I genuinely believe that there is no reason you can't achieve what you want to achieve. If you are willing to put the work in, there is no reason that your things will not materialize. The things that you want, I think that's such a cop out, and that's, as I said, that's okay.
I remember our head teacher saying that though. Not everyone can be a professional footballer, and looking back, it makes me mad that he was saying that to people. Why are you trying to dampen people's dreams?
Listen, I remember when I was in still remember I sat in the exam hall at school, and I had an invigilator come over. At the time I was getting up on benefits, and that was again, that's not to be a douchebag, but definitely not benefits. But yeah, like I said, that's I can't even say that kind of thing motivated me because I'm very easy with words. Like it's what for ducks back.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
You're on your path anyway. You didn't need the spite of other people to light a fire under you.
I didn't need to what, sorry?
You didn't need the spite of other people to light a fire under you. The fire was there anyway. You're going to do what you're going to do.
Yeah. I know, but as I said, that's a very it's a very interesting point. That is true. A lot of people settle, but where? So I know this is your podcast, but I'm asking you questions now.
Yeah.
But like, so where is where's the goal for you then? Where's the aim? Like I know you said to love, find God, and tell the truth. Was that free? And have a nice day.
Yeah, find truth. Know God. Have a blessed day.
There you go. So I do like that, by the way. I was gonna say, but I take it you love the podcast and having the conversation.
That's the beautiful thing about my life at the moment. Everything I do, I love.
Okay.
I can generally say that, and I don't think many people could say that. I take a lot of pride in being able to say that. The downside is I'm broke. If someone's going to come and offer me a pro contract,
yeah,
I'm let's believe I'm signing.
You wouldn't even look at the paper. You sign it. Yeah.
I think you work. You put your heart and soul
now
into
anyway,
something.
so don't worry about it, mate. I'm broke now anyway. That's
It's the life of being a fighter, isn't it? It's the life of being an athlete. Or athletes and artists are maybe the most internally rich, but externally the most broke people.
Well, again, it depends
on the planet. It depends.
Yeah.
Obviously, it depends. Yeah, but it's a tough road, isn't it? Because there's no guarantees.
And that's the difference. Because a lot of people say the minute they hit speed bumps or when they haven't got any money, a lot of them just quit.
Yeah,
because they can make more. Say right now they could make more money working on a building site, or right now they could make more money doing whatever else other than staying at it. And as I said, I genuinely believe if you stay the course, everybody gets their time in the sun. It doesn't matter who you are. If you stick at something long enough, you will get your time in the sun. If you work hard enough at it.
Yeah.
So as I say, that's one thing that kind of gives me a lot of inner peace, I suppose.
Yeah,
that's why.
It too. Yeah, because there's no guarantees with this. Like I said, and that's why. That's another reason why so many people will settle into the mundanity. Settle for less, settle for that 9 to 5, because they're not inspired by it at all. But if you show up, you're going to get paid. If you show up, you're going to get paid. It's the safety and security of it, and a lot of people would rather be in a lesser state of. A lesser position in terms of how they feel about their life. If there's an inherent level of safety and security about it, rather than risk the unknown. Like we hate our evolution. We're wired in a way that we hate uncertainty so much that we'd rather settle for less if it
100%.
means like we think we know what's around the corner, and even then, like you don't know what's around the corner. Your 9 to 5 can go tomorrow.
100%.
Yeah, okay, it's a bit more stable than being a prize fighter. But how much more?
It says, if I've learned anything recently, nothing in life is guaranteed. Absolutely nothing. Even as recently as, a couple of weeks ago, a good friend of mine passed away. He's only 35. He's a fighter. He just won his first title.
Yeah, I saw you post about it.
And he's gone. And that's something that to him, he just reached to where he was going to push on from. Do you know what I mean? He just reached the point that he'd been working the past 12 months for, about to push on and really make a name for himself, and he's ended up passing away, bless him. So, as I said, that's
really puts it into perspective.
Especially when the others say, I'm not going to say, but they're not sure on what the official cause of his death was, but he did pass away 6 days after his last fight. So yeah, if anything, that has really put this whole fighting business into perspective for me. And in the sense of I've only got, say, how old am I now? 24, about to turn 25. So another 10 years topside left in this business, and I don't want to be hanging around taking shots. Or
we talked about this the other week, didn't we?
I've seen the effect it's had on a lot of people, and not that my friend was hanging around taking shots, but
we're talking about some of the fighters that are.
Yeah.
And you were saying you don't want to be that guy.
No. Because and that's something that right now I can't see it, but at some point I'm going to have to learn to see that there's more to life than just fighting. Right now I can't see that, to be honest.
At the moment, trying to see that, it's like trying to see through fog, isn't it?
Yeah, to me there's boxing. That's it. That's it. That's what I love. It's what I do. That's how I make my living. But yeah, I know he had big plans on what he wanted to go on to achieve. And if anything, it kind of taught me that you never know when your last day is going to be. And as silly as it is, it could kind of come at any moment. So, gotta live right, man.
You do. You gotta do what you love.
Live right. And,
you gotta follow your heart and don't waste time with things that don't inspire you.
Exactly. And just don't waste your time and energy with anything that's not meaningful.
I love that. Yeah, I absolutely agree.
So even when it comes down to basic conversations, I'm here today because I like you. You're a good guy, and so I've known you for a little while. But even coming down to talking to people that I've got no interest in talking to, then days are done, man.
And that can sound arrogant, but again, I agree.
Yeah.
People that you can get invited somewhere, and you think, is this worth me giving up?
Do you know what I mean?
A day, an evening, whatever it is.
If it's not adding, then it's subtracting from your time. Because we've only got a finite amount of time on this planet, and we've only got so much, especially youthful energy, that we can put into things. We're not going to be young forever.
That's a very good point.
One day
as well.
we're going to be old men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's always a reason I cite as to why I chose to leave. I can go back to, if all else fails, I could go back to law. I don't want to. Yeah, I could go back to it. I don't want to. I never will.
Really?
I'd go back to, if I had to, say,
That's really interesting.
Say if I can never make, obviously I want to have, 10 years, we're talking a good few years in the future, but I want to have a family one day. Obviously, it's your responsibility as the man of that family to support it. I fundamentally believe that. There's no way I could do that the way I'm living now. So if everything I'm working on now does not yield financial fruit over the next decade, then I would have to go to some kind of 9-to-5, some kind of office job. I wouldn't go back to law though. I'd go back to something more creative.
What would you go into?
I can't pretend I've given it loads of thought because in my mind it's never happening. In my mind, there's no way that everything I'm working on now, jiu-jitsu, competing with that, the podcast, everything I do on social media, everything I'm working on, there's no way that it doesn't, like I said, there's no way it doesn't pay off. There's no way that, and that's, it already has paid off in terms of, I know from the people I talk to, the impact it has on them, how many people it's helped. It's already paid off in that sense, but you do, in this day and age, you do also need it to literally pay off financially.
Yeah.
So when I say hasn't paid off, it already has, 1,000 times over. But in the financial sense, obviously I do need it to pay off. And in my mind, there's no way it won't.
Okay.
Yeah. But if it didn't, in a hypothetical world, if I had to go back to an office job, I would do something more creative. Maybe some advertising or marketing. I'm not much of a salesman.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm good at marketing myself, but I don't know how. I'm not your typical cliche knock on the door salesman. Sell you
makes sense.
This and that. But I'd do something more creative than law. Law to me, looking back, it was very dry. I fell into it.
You think?
Yeah. Look, Suits shows you the glamour of it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, when you're at the pinnacle of a case or a deal, it's exciting, it's high octane. In those moments, it's kind of akin to combat sports in terms of the buzz of it. If you're having a negotiation with somebody or if you're advocating in court, that's when, it's competitive. That's where the fire comes into it. But that's such a small element of being a lawyer.
Is there a lot of paperwork?
Yeah. There's a lot of just sitting in front of a screen for 16 hours a day, just doing very, very boring, long-winded meaningless. That's the key part. Meaningless shit. That's the other part of it. That looking back, corporate law. Now, okay, family law, anything to do with children, criminal law. There's meaning in that.
Yeah.
You could be on the wrong side of the fence with it, but providing you're on the right side of justice, like your work can be meaningful as a family lawyer, as a criminal lawyer. But as a corporate lawyer, your only purpose is to make somebody that's already very rich a little bit richer. And like you said, I've got to have a deeper and greater meaning to the work that I do.
Okay.
That's not a meaning to me. There's no nobility in that for me.
I hear where you're coming from, but as it says, once, as you know, money makes the world go around. You know what I mean?
It does.
And even if there's
to pretend that you don't need money is a fallacy.
Crazy. Like, but so you say fallacy, I say crazy. Well, it's like it for me, money is a vehicle towards freedom. And you can do a lot with money. Just because, even if you didn't earn it in, say, you earned it in corporate law or something that you thought was pointless, you could then put that to good work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard to make any real change in today's world without paper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
significant gravitational change. Like, I think me and you share the same mindset. We want a big impact on... I mean, humanity. Yeah, humanity. I will confidently say I want to have some kind of notable impacts on humanity with
what
the
kind
work
of
that I do.
impact?
Find truth, know God, have a blessed day. Help people find their purpose. Help people live better, live lives that are meaningful. And if I can do that to the people in the gym, the people down the street, that's great. And like I said, I know from the people I talk to that I've already been able to achieve that, and that makes me incredibly happy. But I do want to do it on a mass scale. That's the point of doing something like this podcast. It's great that I've got the audience that I do now, but I want an audience that's millions and millions of subscribers. I want as many people as possible all over the world to listen to a conversation like this and to gain value from this, so that a young lad that's in a completely different area of the country or a completely different area of the world can listen to your story and be like, oh, wow, like, why can't it happen to me? Why can't I pursue my dreams of being a professional boxer? Like, to hear stories like that, to be able to achieve that, to me, that's great meaning. That's a real purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. As it says, I think for what I want to help people with, I need money, so
yeah. That's what I mean.
I don't know.
However, I agree.
Take it. But
but that's the thing. That's what I mean. Like, if I have to go back to a career like that in a hypothetical world, again, when I'm 35, I will. But I couldn't have continued on in my career as a corporate lawyer and had the time to train and compete and do the podcast. Yeah. Like I said, the podcast is something I could have started later in life, but competing in jiu-jitsu, I can't do that later in life. That's got to happen now. So for me, that was like a big part of it. It's like, I can't train and compete in the way that I want to whilst I'm here in London working. Mm-hmm. I want to capitalise on my athletic prime. Like I said, as a kid, I was never an athlete. Yeah. And then I really felt as though, like, the couple of years before I started the job down in London, I really felt as though for the first time in my life I was finding myself as an athlete. I really started feeling like an athlete. Yeah. I'd started to do pretty decent in competition, and I wanted to see where I could take that.
Good.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But I was going to say, how many... This is just... I know it's kind of irrelevant to the podcast.
No. But that's the beauty of this podcast. Nothing's irrelevant to it because it's anything that sparks my interest, basically. Okay. So
how many hours a day was you working as a... What were you when you were working in law?
So I was a corporate lawyer, still technically a trainee.
Okay.
Because you have to fulfill... That's what I mean. I was tied into a 2-year contract, or should have been tied into a 2-year contract.
Okay.
It's complete like your traineeship before you're fully qualified as a solicitor. But like,
so are you qualified?
No, that's me, because I left. I'm not fully qualified, so I'd have to go back and complete my qualification. But when you're working as a trainee solicitor, you're doing the work of a lawyer. Like you're doing the same work that somebody that's 5 years post qualified or 2 years post qualified across the desk from you is doing. The work, like I said, it's 99% of it is just staring into a screen. It's not particularly collaborative work, especially in this day and age. You've got people working from home. You're working with people remotely across the globe. So there's not really a big buzz about the office. It's quite lonely. You're staring into a screen and it's just basically constant paperwork. And then like a couple of times every 6 months, like a deal will come to a conclusion and it'll be like, hey, before you crack right back on. The average working day, though, of a corporate lawyer, and this is...
It just sounds like being a boxer.
Yeah, apart from the fact... Like,
most of the time I'm by myself. I'm training and getting working out in the gym, killing yourself. Most days I'm sat by myself, and then when every now and then you get a fight, it's celebrations and back to work.
That's very true, and I think that's it's the same for me now with competing. But the difference is I love what I do. With that, there wasn't a love. Yeah, I love the act of what I'm doing. Okay. I love grappling. I love combat sports. I love going out there and physically competing against another man to like find out who's the man. Like I love the act of that.
That sounded crazy, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. You had to say it. As I said in my head, I was like, "There's got to have been a better way." You know what I mean. What you're saying. Whereas, and that's when it's the purpose that comes from it.
Yeah,
I do think like part of being a young man is finding out like what you can physically do with the vessel, the body that God gave you.
Yeah,
like what can you do with that? For me, I saw no greater meaning or purpose in the work I was doing.
Yeah,
like the deal was like for, a real estate project so it was corporate real estate that I was in for a real estate project in London. What's the greater purpose to this? It's for an office building. Okay, so it's gonna, provide a new office space for a company whose goal is to just make people that are rich a little bit richer. There's no purpose from it other than that. That's the best way I can describe it. There was no greater meaning to it for me.
Okay, as I said, me, as I said, obviously we're wired differently as individuals. Me, I'm very, as much as I said, I'm grateful I fell into something. I love what I do and whatnot. But I am relying if I said I wasn't money motivated. I'd say that's a big part because.
But I am as well. I am as well. But that's what I mean.
To give that up for, I would have to be walking into something else where it's paying me that kind of money.
Okay, yeah.
Even if I know it's obviously all in hindsight and whatnot, but even say finishing the trainee thing as a solicitor, how come you jacked it after a year and didn't just do the 2 years and then jack it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because that way you're already qualified. You come back to that later.
Yeah.
Like
that would have been the logical decision.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't follow this. I only follow this.
Okay.
And I've never been able to do otherwise. I've always been a man that's followed his heart, regardless of what the logic inside my head is telling me. Sometimes to my detriment.
Yeah.
But a lot of times to my benefit, I would argue. Okay. And the thing with the average day of a corporate lawyer, like you're sitting in front of a computer, sitting in front of a screen.
What time does your day start?
Latest 9:30.
Not too bad.
And then on average, you're finishing at like 9:30 in the evening.
Okay.
There's no room for training.
What's the pay packet looking like? That's what motivates me.
The pay packet is good on paper, but when you break it down as to how many hours of work you're doing for that pay packet, and the tax man taking his cut, because it's all income. You're not gaining any capital from that in the same way you are when you say if you're a day trader, say if you're making money from investing in crypto. There's so many ways to make money these days. That's what I mean. Nothing I do is the priority of it is not to make money. I could have left law and gone into crypto trading. I could have self-educated myself as a crypto trader. And I know, with the level of, I'm somebody that's able to grasp things fairly well, thankfully. I've been blessed with a pretty good brain. I don't doubt that if I'd spent the last 2.5 years dedicating myself to trading cryptocurrencies, I'd be in a pretty good financial position. I'd argue I could, if my first priority was to make money, I firmly believe that I would be in a better financial position now than I would be had I stayed in corporate law.
So why didn't you?
Because my
That's the
priority...
question. Like, why would you not say if you're doing you got all your spare time now? Why would you not then, in between, say the podcast? Because every minute you're awake in a day can be put to some sort of use.
Absolutely.
So in between the podcasts, training, you've got something else on, haven't you? Podcast training and you said
social media, writing.
Like your newsletter. You must have a spare hour, 30 minutes.
Right.
Even when you're driving in between somewhere, you could listen
to
an audiobook and educate yourself in that way.
No, I am. Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
But that's what I mean. My priority, though, at the moment, isn't to make money. At the moment, like, the audiobook that I'm listening, or the audiobooks, the podcasts that I'm listening to, like, to and from training when I'm in the car, they're not about trading, investing,
what are they about?
Business.
Let's talk about
philosophy, psychology.
Really?
Yeah, all those kind of things. Yeah, the kind of things that we talk about, that we're talking about now, that we talk about on the podcast. Health and fitness.
What are you listening to?
So, what am I listening to at the moment? Laws of Power by Robert Greene.
I'm on The Laws of Human Nature.
Oh, wow. I haven't got around to that one yet.
Yeah, shout out October Red. She got me that one. Yeah, it's a good book.
Yeah.
Good book.
Have you read The Laws of Power or listened to it?
I've heard, the short answer is no, but I know
you've heard it's so well publicised, because it's such a famous book.
I said that I didn't even know of it. It's because, again, Robert Greene. I'd heard of that before I'd got The Laws of Human Nature, but I'd noticed it was the same. Anyway, so I'll get round to it.
yeah. I listen. My favourite podcast I listen to as well is Modern Wisdom by Chris Williamson.
Who? Sorry,
Chris Williamson.
Okay.
Yeah, guy. He was a club promoter in Newcastle, and now he is a full-time podcaster. He lives in Austin, Texas, in America. Nice. Yeah, cool guy. Enough. Yeah.
Is that like? I mean, I get it. I get that some people like as I said, maybe I'm just, and you'd have to excuse me if I come across like an idiot at any point. Because, as I said, my day to day, I live so inside my own head. I don't really talk to no one. I just train.
Yeah.
And go about.
Like I say, it's a lonely road. It's a lonely road, isn't it?
But to be honest, I love it anyway.
That's it. If you love it, it doesn't matter if it's a lonely road.
Actually, nah. I'd say I've learned to love it. I never used to. But I've just learned to embrace the pain and just love the journey, because one day it will be over.
Yeah.
I'll be wishing back, thinking of the good days. So
I
have kind of just learned to love it. But yeah, I was gonna say if in my head kind of thing, I know a lot of people kind of, and that has become more of a. It'd be fair to say that has become more of a modern trend. People do what their heart desires rather than what their head desires. Not what their head desires, but what is a logical decision.
Yes.
For me, I can't wrap my head around that because I'm so like money driven. Like because I have clear goals that I know I want to achieve.
Yeah.
I know the kind of legacy I want to leave behind in my lifetime. So to me, I ain't got no time to waste. It's got to get to work, make it happen, and keep it pushing. But yeah, there's one of the things I always wanted to go on to do was set up some sort of charity. No idea doing what yet.
But something to give back.
Yeah,
to help other people.
Exactly, and not just give back financially. I want to be like that's something I want to do after I retire. That's what I'll do full time. Literally physically help as much as I can.
Yeah, don't just give your money, but give your time as well.
Yeah. Because the time's the most valuable thing that you've got. You know what I mean? So that's what I wanted to move into post boxing. It's something I always wanted to do from when I was a kid. But yeah, I know I need money to do that. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You can make a little bit of a difference, say going and giving your time, but you can make a big difference if you got this.
You can leverage it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the direction that. Again, to me, I see everything through like say everything. I see most things through a financial lens.
Yeah. No, I understand that, and I not just appreciate that. I empathise with that because I'm the same. It's just for me the point I'm at the moment. money is not the priority. I want to really work on these basically passion projects, go as far with them as I can, and really like the priority right now is competing, and I want to win a world championship in jiu-jitsu. Like, nice. and that's not for the greater good. That's not to help other people. That's just for me. That's for me, my pride, for my legacy.
Okay.
And like, you know, I think about it. You know, you think about your legacy benefiting your children and grandchildren, etc., which I hope it does. I hope it inspires. You know, when I'm an old man telling my grandchildren, showing them videos of me, you know, running someone off the mat, choking them unconscious. I hope that lights the fire in them as a young man to go and do the same, to go out and conquer. But a large part of it, you know, that's a selfless goal. Yeah. So that's my priority at the moment. But I absolutely share that sentiment because, yeah, I'd be lying if I said I don't want to be rich. Of course, yeah. It's not fun being poor. It's not fun being broke.
Yeah, no, I get it. But it's like, I could see it. What kind of level have you competed at with the jiu-jitsu then?
So I got my purple belt at the end of last year. So the way it corresponds, when you're a blue belt, you compete in what's called intermediate divisions. When you're a purple, you move on to advanced divisions, and then some point between purple and black belt, kind of depending on how well you're doing and yours and your coach's choices, you'll basically go pro. You'll move from like advanced to what they call professional divisions. But at each interval, well, depending on the promotions, because there's two like main
professional means money, no?
Depends.
Okay,
Depends. I mean, there's not much money in the sport of MMA unless you're at the top. There's way less in the sport of jiu-jitsu.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No one in jiu-jitsu, apart from like, you know, Gordon Ryan, right? Gordon. Do you know Gordon Ryan? Okay. Well, that just goes to show. Gordon Ryan is like the most popular figure in jiu-jitsu. He's at the top of the sport. He makes money. Makes a lot of money through sponsorships, and he's a really good businessman as well. He's got his own business ventures, etc. So he makes money. There's a few other people that make money. Most people, like, they're getting by. So like, this isn't, you know, you're never going to get rich just being a jiu-jitsu competitor.
Okay.
But there's two big promotions basically: IBJJF and ADCC.
Okay.
ADCC is just pro basically. They do have amateurs, like so they've got you got the ADCC World Championships. For those, like, you have to be a pro, but they do run amateur tournaments as well. So like, you can become like an ADCC national champion, like as a blue belt, as a purple belt, as you work your way up. So like, I took silver twice as a blue belt for ADCC.
Good.
Well done. Thank you.
Well done.
IBJJF, again, like, you can win the worlds as a blue belt, you can win the worlds as a purple belt. So like, it's all ranked by belts basically. So yeah, like, I want to be able to say that I was world champion in my sport. Like, as a blue belt, I ended up winning the British champs at the end of last year. That was a nice way to cap it off because I took silver at the ADCC national champs twice. So I was happy to be able to say, like, I won a British championship. But your blue belt, like I said, that's an intermediate level. So from here, this is where you really starting to get into the upper echelons of the sport. So like, the next 5 years for me is really going to be a make or break as to whether I can do it or not. And I'm not going to pretend I'm a front runner. You know, I'm not the most talented guy in the gym, far from it.
That doesn't
but
matter.
I'm someone that's always worked as hard as he possibly can at everything that he does. That's the reason why I got into the kind of firm that I did. It was the position that I got to was an incredibly difficult one. That's why it's so crazy to people that I walked away from it. But I've always had the confidence that if I approach something with my soul, with my passion, with the love for it, and I work as hard as I can at it, to use your words, I'll have my day in the sun. I firmly believe that.
To be honest, I can see you do quite well at whatever you do because you got quite like an intense look in your eyes. So, I get it.
The eyes don't lie, do they?
No, exactly. So I can see that. But
so I think we're very similar in that regard. I do think that's something like we can talk about. Obviously, we've put the work in. But I do think it's also something you're born with. I can't pretend that I've curated like the belief in myself. It's something I always had from as young as I can remember. And as I've gone through life, you know, it may sound arrogant to some people, but as I've gone through my life,
you've proven.
I have proven to myself that belief in myself is well founded. But it's you know, I'm not special. I don't think I'm special. I think like everyone should they choose
everyone's
to.
Special, aren't they?
Exactly. Like it's there for anybody. Like should they wish to choose it and pursue it.
Exactly. Are you religious?
what I always say
I
to
noticed that was something you touched on. You said
Yeah,
you touched
yeah.
on in your newsletter.
very, very religious, but I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Hindu, a Buddhist, or
Okay.
a Muslim. I was, I suppose it's fair to say, raised a Christian. So
Okay.
Christian on my mum's side, the English side.
Yeah.
My dad's side, Nepalese, Hindu.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were Nepalese. Half
Half
Nepalese.
Nepalese. You don't know that?
No.
No. What
I
did you
promise you,
think?
I've got no idea. I never knew you were half
Turned the way
Nepalese.
around.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Well
yeah.
done.
Yeah. You've got a bit of Chinese in you, haven't you? I'm sure Adam told me that.
Probably somewhere, mate.
Yeah,
No idea.
But obviously half Jamaican.
Yeah, that's it. I didn't realise you were half Nepalese. That's crazy.
Yeah. So raised Christian, not really strongly. But yeah, mum's side of the family's Christian. Dad and his side of the family's Hindu. But what I realised when I really started to touch base with God as an adult, really started to build a relationship with God as an adult, is all religions, they're all pointing to the same thing. The metaphor, and people that continually listen to this podcast will be sick of me using this metaphor, but it's the best way to put it. You've got the moon up there. Let's call that like the moon. You've got all these fingers pointing to it, and everyone's looking at the finger and not what it's pointing to. God, the moon is God in that metaphor, and all these fingers are all the different religions. And Christianity is saying these are the rules you need to live by. Hindus are saying these are the rules you need to live by. At the end of the day, all that doesn't matter. The pursuit of it is to know God, to live a meaningful life, so that you can ascend above this life to the ethereal, the greater. That is the real purpose of life, I believe. And whatever medium, whatever religion gets you there, I'm behind it. I think religion's a tool, a scripture's a tool. You can use it how you want. So yeah, to answer your question, very religious, but not of any particular religion.
Okay.
What about yourself?
I'm a Christian, raised that way. Always have been, but it's something that I still practice quite regularly. But to be honest, do I pray? Yeah. But again, I think that praying is just another form of meditation. I'm very aware of, say, the similarities across religions, even down to Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. All have the same. Old Testament is in the front of the books. Apart from, as I said, Jews just don't believe in any New Testament. Jews just literally practice the Old Testament.
There's so much overlap and similarity.
They're all cousin religions. But I understand. One thing I do get is I understand the importance of religion in people's lives. It gives them something. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cold, but it gives people a sense of comfort, that especially when things are not going great, that there is a higher purpose, and there's something looking out over you, to something protecting you. And I imagine it's also something that can be used to hold people accountable for their behaviour. If you believe that there's always someone watching you or something, whatever it is. And even across to Buddhism, the energy you put out, kind of thing, is what you'll get back. So, as I said, I see similarities across all kind of religions. But as I said, obviously, the only religion I never got was Hinduism, and that's Hinduism or Sikhism. I can't remember. One of those two. No, Hinduism is with the god is Vishnu, isn't it?
You've got many gods in Hinduism.
That was it. And Sikhism, but I didn't really understand. I understood the 5Ks and what they did and etc. But
I think that's Sikhism.
Sikhism. Yeah.
What didn't you understand about the religion?
I don't understand. I haven't looked into it enough. Okay. Is what I mean when I say I don't understand it. I haven't really.
You don't know as much about
it. Yeah. I don't know enough about it to be able to hold a conversation on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, as I said, I'm a believer. I'm a believer in God. A believer in Jesus, and as I said, but I understand. You see the thing. I'm quite open-minded when it comes to that kind of thing. I think when you're shut off and ignorant to the things that go on you around you, that's no, I said that's never a recipe for goodness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as I said, I'm quite open to all possibilities. But as I said, I've got everyone's entitled to their own opinion and their own belief system. Whatever works for them works for them. I just have what I believe in, and I know what I believe in. I know who I am as a person, and I know what I believe in. So, yeah. But as I said, I've got friends who are Muslims. I got friends who are Hindus. I've got friends who are Sikh. I've got. I was gonna say I don't really know anyone who's Buddhist, to be honest.
Yeah,
Or
you don't
Jewish.
come across many.
I don't really know anyone that's Jewish either. But I've got. Sorry, that was something else I meant to ask you earlier. I know I'm just rambling a bit here.
No, not at all. This podcast is taking an absolute tangent, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, just a conversation.
Yeah.
But I thought people who were, I thought Nepalese, like that Asian region, were swayed towards Buddhism, not.
Yeah, so I do believe there is quite a big Buddhist influence in Nepal as well. I do think you get quite a lot of Buddhists in Nepal, but a lot of Hindus as well. I think it's Hindu and Buddhism.
Yeah,
the only
they're the two.
In
the two main ones.
Yeah, because obviously it's between India and China.
Okay, yeah.
So a lot of Buddhists in China.
Yeah.
A lot of Hindus in India.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That is interesting. You ever been?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah. Quite a few times.
Doesn't matter how many times you've been.
5, 6. 5, 6. Yeah. A handful.
Do you cook Nepalese food?
No, I don't. My dad does.
Not? Really?
Yeah. Oh, I love my grandma's cooking, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There's nothing like your grandma's cooking, is there?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
They just get it spot on.
I went a couple of years ago now. I gained in the space of 10 days, you couldn't believe you'd gain so much weight.
Yeah?
Because as well, the diet's so carb and fat heavy.
I thought it was going to be quite, simple, like as in...
It is very simple.
Meat, rice, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, that's something. I didn't get any meat because she's vegetarian. My granddad, who's not with us anymore, he used to cook amazing chicken, amazing fish. But my grandma, she's vegetarian. But I didn't even miss eating. I love eating meat.
Yeah.
But I didn't even miss eating meat for those 10 days because she'd cook cheese, like paneer, Indian cheese, like different curries, rice, so much different kinds of bread. They make it all from scratch. So it's healthy in that sense. Like the bread we get here is like loaded with all kinds 100%. Of garbage and oils. There, it's all made from scratch. Like her whole day is like they go and get the milk from the cow in the morning.
Yeah.
Like down the road, which is like a dusty track. Yeah. Go and get the milk from the cow. So it's as fresh as anything. Like milk, yogurt, cheese, bread. It's all made from scratch.
That's how it should be.
That's brilliant. Yeah,
that's good. That
it
can
is.
You cook?
Yeah, I can cook.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So to the disappointment of my Hindu roots, I love beef, so I cook because you're not allowed to eat beef in Hinduism.
Okay.
If you're being strict about it.
Yeah.
I love steak. I cook a lot of steak, a lot of beef.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can cook, but unfortunately, not. I don't cook Nepalese food.
Does your dad cook Nepalese food?
Yeah.
Quite a lot, or?
Yeah. Not all the time, but yeah. No, yeah, he's a good cook.
Yeah,
I do have to give that to him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, would you go out for dinner often, or?
Not as much as you used to.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, growing up, had more of it. What about? Does your mum cook traditional Jamaican food?
No, she does like on occasion, but not really. Just I don't think. Silly, I think that there's certain dishes my mum likes that she'll cook, but if she don't like it, she ain't cooking it. So there's a lot of there's a few bits like that she doesn't like, so she just won't do it. So I kind of just learned to do it myself.
I was going to say, do you cook?
Yeah, I cook a lot.
Yeah.
I love cooking though. To me, it's people. It's one of those things that really kind of slows your day down a little bit. Especially if you've got time to kind of put into the food. And it's a real like personification of like, you got to put in the time and real effort into food. You can't just cook good food like that. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. To be fair, actually, that's not true. I know someone that can. One of my sponsors, he can just cook. Like, a guy called Manny.
What kind of food does he cook?
He's Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah. Nah, he can cook.
Whip up a paella in like 10 minutes.
Nah, I think I just went around for some stir fry or something the other day. Well, I went around to have a chat with him, and he was like, "I'm just having a stir fry. Do you want one?" And made it 10 minutes, and it was nice. It was really nice. Like I think he had the Spanish salad he just made one time, and it was amazing. Like he just cooked it just like that, just out of nothing. So he deserves a shout out for that. But yeah, like for the most part, real like say your grandma's kind of cooking takes time. It's not something that just you can whip up in 10 minutes.
Takes her all day.
Exactly, and that's something like I do enjoy about cooking is really taking my time and doing it right, and then you get to reap the rewards of it. Do you know what I mean?
I like it. Yeah, gotta have the right ingredients.
Exactly, and the right preparation. But yeah, short answer is I do enjoy cooking. And
what are like the staples to your diet? Because I mean, like the blessing as a heavyweight in a weight cut sport is you don't have to cut weight.
Yeah, that's
so you don't really have to watch. But like, do you mind? Like,
I have to watch what I eat. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I'm still an athlete. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Regardless of if I'm heavyweight or not.
Yeah.
I still have to be able to perform, and I've got to fuel my body right. The good news is that about with being a heavyweight is I haven't got to starve myself.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm eating the right things to be able to perform and to make sure that I feel good, so that I can go out and do what I've got to do and get up for training the next morning, do my thing, and make sure that I can continue to perform at a high level. It's the only thing is it's something that you kind of learn as you move along. Like especially when it comes down to portion sizes, what foods you feel better with eating.
Yeah, that's it.
What agrees with you more so, and timings on when to eat and when not to eat, that kind of thing. So I got a lot more of it figured out now. I do. To be honest, at the minute, most of my eating, especially if I can't, say if I'm at the gym all day, so I can't go to cook, I just eat at the gym. So I go to David Lloyd quite a bit, and what they've got there is like all the food is like calorie counted, and so I've got my proteins, carbs, and fats plus calories. So I know what I kind of count now. Yeah, so when it comes to say slimming down a little bit, that kind of, it's spot on. Or maintaining because I've got times that I'm supposed to be eating at every day as well. Just helps to maintain structure.
Yeah.
And it's very simple, and it's not actually that expensive there either. Like for the food, you get a meal for like €10. So it does the job. So
what do you weigh? How much do you weigh?
Me, my weight will jump between about 18.8 and 19.2.
Okay, so that's. Do you know what that is in pounds? So times it by 14. Maths is what I've never been good at.
Times it by 14, probably about £260.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah,
looking at you with your height.
Yeah,
that's what 6'9".
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I got big legs as well.
Yeah.
Especially for a black man, I got big calves as well. You know what I mean? So
the funny thing, like the line Adam always says is, like he'll say to people, "I'm the shortest adult in my house," or "I'm the shortest man in my house," which throws people.
Yeah.
He's 6'5" cool. And he's the shortest guy in the house.
Yeah, he is. That's true. Yeah, but he was never really got. Well, to be fair, he's doing his boxing thing now, and as I said, I'll always support him. With. So it's nice to see, to be honest. It's nice to see him going out and doing his thing. Have you seen him compete?
No.
I think he's doing some interclubs at the minute, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I need to catch up with him.
He had one the other day, I think. Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Next weekend, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
I don't know. But I just get drip fed little bits of information.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, from what I can tell, he's doing all right. But, yeah.